Andrea LaFountain from Truth First Ministries, your own personal psychologist and theologian. Welcome to the Truth First podcast. Let's talk about self-image and self-identity. They're two very distinct things. And I want to tease apart for you the difference between the two, because when we get them confused, or if one starts to ride over the other, then life gets completely out of whack. Here's what shows up in life when self-image gets confused with self-identity. We see things like depression, anxiety, low feelings of self-worth, social isolation, and extreme cases, addictive behaviors, drug and alcohol abuse, sex addiction, and criminal behaviors, and the worst case scenario, suicide. Compare that to when self-image and self-identity are working as they should. Here we see an ambitious life, a fulfilled life, a strong sense of dignity and self-worth, and a passionate, purposeful life. So let me just explain to you the difference between self-image and self-identity and how they need to play off of one another to keep our lives balanced and pushing towards the fulfilled, ambitious passion of life. First of all, self-image is an externally generated concept of ourselves. It's where the opinions and evaluations of others press upon us, whether that's our parents, friends, family, co-workers, peer groups, social media, or the culture that we are facing. All of these can generate opinions or evaluations about us. And when we take that on board and believe that to be our persona, our self-image has been externally derived. And of course, we are not really who society tells us we are. We are so much more than that. In contrast, self-identity is more internally generated. It is the truest sense of who we really are before we get pulled into 1,000 different directions by the world. It is who we were born to be. It is this identity that houses our purpose in life. It includes our ambitions, our life goals. It includes our skills and our abilities, our experiences, our hopes and our dreams. It is why we believe we exist. You can see it's very distinct from self-image. So in summary, self-identity is more internal and is the core of who we truly are, versus self-image, which is more externally or socially derived and projected onto us, primarily through others. Now, what happens when these two things get out of whack, or when self-image becomes the predominant motivator in our lives? Well, then we end up with those characteristics that I mentioned earlier: depression, lack of fulfillment, social isolation, and potentially drug and alcohol abuse and criminal behavior and even suicide. These manifest when the socially derived self-image is our motivation in life rather than our true inner core or self-identity. When we see signs of sadness, depression, isolation, apathy, confusion, we need to ask ourselves, are we perhaps being motivated by the external self-image rather than the true core of who we really are? Let me give you 5 signals or red flags that can clue you in as to if your self-image is overriding your self-identity. And once you have these, you can maybe spot some things that are out of whack in your life and then try and peel back the pull of self-image and raise up the influence of your self-identity. If you don't, then your true inner self will eventually get so buried that you won't even realize you've left it behind until it's too late. So one of the first signals that self-image is carrying too much sway is a desire to be more likable. That's a classic self-image agenda. We want the world to like us. On the other hand, when we're rooted in self-identity, we are comfortable in our own skin, whatever color that skin may be. With a strong self-identity, we can own our inner selves and forego the fleeting impressions from the outside world. So a desire for more likability is a sign that your self-image may be carrying too much persuasion in how you are living your life. A second red flag is emotional reactions to the opinions of others, whether that's feeling on a high when we receive great praise or feeling on a low when we receive criticism. With emotional reactions to others, it is our self-image that's responding, not our self-identity, which knows our worth, whether the world likes it or not. A third red flag that self-image is overly driving us is our own feelings about ourselves. When you see your own self-evaluation fluctuating, that suggests that your self-image is again taking too much control over self-identity. For example, if one day you're feeling that you're living life well and doing okay, and the next you're disappointed with yourself or your lot in life, these kind of fluctuations reveal that self-image is leading rather than self-identity, which is more steadfast over time, regardless of what the outside world is putting on us. A fourth red flag that our self-image is getting too much play is a hesitation in just living life. It could be a hesitation in speaking out truths that we know about us, or about others, or the world. We pull back because we feel vulnerable for what others might think about us, for our opinions, especially if our views are provocative or controversial, going against the social grain. A secure self-identity allows us to express real truth without fear of reproach. Self-image does not. And a fifth clue that our self-image is taking over our self-identity is feeling a loss of control over our future, over our own destiny. Even with near-term goals, when we feel that we've lost the hold on being able to drive our own agenda, or that our own purpose-driven life is under the reins of the outside world, we need to stop and recalibrate. We need to move the self-image to the back room and allow our true inner self to take center stage. A lot of people will take this podcast to support woke ideas. This is not what it's about. If that's what you think it's about, then you've misread. Those people, I'd say, have already lost their true identity. It's already been sabotaged by their own self-image. They've allowed a socially driven agenda to plaster over the true inner self. All I'd suggest is take time away, just by yourself, without any outside influences, and try to reach much, much deeper within, way deeper than you usually go. No, even deeper than that. You will be amazed at what you find if you dare to go there. This is where the flourishing life is. You just need to live in that space. If you want more information on this topic, you can check out truthfirstministry.com. There's a piece there on identity, purpose, and there's some tips on how you can really create that balance where self-identity is ruling the day, not your self-image. And that is the recipe for fulfillment and for ambition in a passionate life. This is Dr. Andrea LaFountain, your own personal psychologist and theologian.